Ruto must go. 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 This video is based on the tweet by Wanjiru Githiomi, posted on X at 12:29 a.m. September 18, 2024. Ruto must go. 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 It has been generated using VideoGen HTTP videogen.io via dat. We are family sign up to do the same. Wacha nifungue, roho, yangu. Maandamano Delivers. In the early 90s, Moi's despotic regime crushed our resistance with unprecedented brutal force. Ruto ni mwanafunzi, haswa. Frustrated and utterly hopeless, I left Kenya at the age of 20 to chase the dreams my country had failed to deliver. I hear you, Gen Zs. I traveled to South Africa on a one-way ticket, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, with nothing but 15K and my mother's unwavering support. I hustled, quosha, vyombo, braiding hair and trading curios, just to pay my way through my studies at the University of Cape Town. It was difficult living away from home with limited resources. So Ruto, stop this modern-day slave trade disguised as job creation for the youth. Our communities thrive better together, and there is plenty within our borders if you would just stop stealing the entire country. I have lived in South Africa for 30 years, witnessing this great nation rise to glory, only to later unravel into chaos. Yet we still stand because the Constitution reigns supreme, and the rule of law remains the bedrock of our society. However, there is still much room for improvement. Ruto must go. 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 Getting back to my thought process. Under the leadership of Nelson Mandela and the formidable Thabo Mbeki, South Africa rose from the ashes of apartheid. The black middle class flourished. Long-neglected communities finally gained access to basic services, and justice became accessible. Social welfare reached the most vulnerable, affordable health care was within reach, and it felt like anything was possible. The Constitution wasn't just a suggestion. It was implemented, albeit imperfectly. Then, stage left, Zuma entered. Corruption, impunity, greed, and selfishness devoured everything South Africa had built. In collusion with his Indian cronies, the Guptas, Zuma dismantled the economy over his 9 wasted years. Today, South Africa is trapped in dysfunction. Clean water and sanitation have become luxuries. Electricity is expensive and rationed, and the rand is in free fall. Youth unemployment is at a crisis point. Xenophobia is tearing apart communities, and local industries have collapsed. It's a long, sordid story, all rooted in the rot at the head, a moral decay that has permeated through every facet of our society. I now watch with horror as Kenya, my motherland, treads the same doomed path once again, as if we learned nothing from the Mikoloni's installation of Kenyatta First, and the subsequent Moi and Ruto regimes that Kenya's electorate willingly endorsed. And now we find ourselves with this cretin, Ruto, displaying the dangerous tendencies of notorious dictators like Idi Amin, Mobutu, and Bokassa. Ruto must go. 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 He is also following Zuma's playbook, with his own Adani playing the role of the notorious Gupta Indian oligarchs. This is no ordinary corruption. This is state capture by Kifua. It's the systematic dismantling of Kenya's future, and if we don't act swiftly and decisively, we are barreling towards anarchy, if we are not there already. I am angry because I know Kenya's potential, and it is slipping away under our watch. I am angry because I've seen this playbook before, and I know exactly how it ends. But more than anything, I am hopeful, because Kenya's youth is woke, politically engaged, and fired up to reclaim the soul of our nation. Ndugu zetu, mumeamka. The South African youth uprising of June 1976 forever altered the course of this country's liberation struggle. Their clarion call, Amandla, Awethu, power to the people, resonates through history. And now, 48 years later, in June 2024, the Kenyan youth made their mark in our history books. You are exactly who you think you are, the leaders of Kenya's third liberation struggle. Hashtag Ruto must go. 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 To the youth, I urge you to remember, we the older generation are not your enemy. We stand with you, ready to support this movement with our skills, resources, and experience. Battles are fought not only in the streets, but in offices, courtrooms, oceans, and across the diaspora. Esh taifampia ni yetu sote. To the older generation, we must resist the temptation of retreating into the mwizi wangu tribal cocoons that have long defined our politics. It's time to wake up and focus on midwifing a hashtag taifampia that works for all 58 million shareholders. Competence, servant leadership, and respect for the rule of law must guide our choices for leaders in 2027. I am angry but hopeful. Kuna Mpango, Twende Kazi, Ruto must go. Ruto must go. Ruto must go. Ruto must go. Taifampia, 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 Taifampia. Iukot, at Martha Karua, at CJ Martha Coombe, Deek Maraga, at Faith Odiambo, at Edwin Sifuna, Larry Madowo, at Wanjiru Advi, at Macau Mutua, at Boniface Mwangi, at Amerix, at Honey Farsafi, at Larry Madowo, C. Nia Kundi H, at Jimmy Wanjigi, at Morara Kabaso, SNR, at Prof. Kibwana, Sonko, 254, at Mkenya MZ, at Richard, Onyonka, at Linus Kaikai, at Nonanimgenja Turu, Okia Omtata, W. Mutunga, at Eric Latif, at Han Wamuchomba, Kaskazini, to Mathai Wanjira. Ruto must go. 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 Credit goes to Wanjiru Githiomi, who posted on X at 12:29 a.m., September 18th, 2024. Ruto must go. Ruto must go. Ruto must go. Ruto must go. Ruto must go.